health is a factor of Tai Chi that attracts a lot of people, and a lot of people are very interested in. It is a very important foundational principle. The art is entirely principled. Earlier on I was talking about the civil versus the martial in the context of how important it was to incorporate some martial aspects into your practice. Health cultivation would definitely be considered civil cultivation, one development, right? And probably the simplest idea is to think about returning to nature, or becoming original, or something like that. The concepts that are useful here, or that form the frameworking here, are Fang and Song. Right? Fang literally means this. Right? Fang. So it's an opening fist. It implies expansion and a sense of letting go, and it also implies a sense of dropping, because if I was holding anything in my hand, it would fall. Right? And it's an aspect of relaxing, right? Possibly half of relaxing. Song is to adjust a binding. So if your shoelaces are too tight and you loosen them off and then retie them, you have performed an act of song on your shoelaces, right? So it's another aspect of relaxation, right? And the body is made up of bones and sinews and muscles and tendons and connective tissue and all that sort of stuff. Fang generally refers to the muscle fibers, the idea of relaxing and letting go and releasing, right? That aspect of relaxation. Song is more to do with joints in the body, right? Now, we don't have joints in the sense of furniture joints or metalwork joints. We don't. What we have is much more like macrame, where you've got two beads and they're kind of like knitted in together, right? With tendons and ligaments and little bit itsy bitsy little muscles sometimes. And if the fang isn't right, then the joint can be quite compacted like this. But if you can get fang right, then you can try and get sung, which means to release the joint. And ideally, there should be a fluid-filled gap. They shouldn't actually be grinding against each other, because that leads to wear and tear. And so Fang is to let go, and Sung is to three-dimensionally release a binding, right? This leads us on to whole body breathing, and in fact ultimately to whole body usage, and in fact that's where Qi comes from, basically. Newborn babies have a feature, particularly noticeable when they're asleep. Their whole body pulses on the breath. The whole body pulses on the breath, right? And I can do my pale imitation, right? But I'll do my best. I hope you can see that my whole body breathes, and the whole body pulses. That promotes vast health benefits. I mean, it helps to regulate the lymph system, it helps to circulate the lymph, it helps to regulate digestion because it helps with pushing the food down through the guts. It helps with breathing because it is breathing. And it's good for the circulation because it evens out pressures internally in it. So and stuff like that. And so, if you want to have something to really hang your health benefits on, right? Famously, it's relax, right? But technically, it's fang, which is this sense of releasing or letting go of the muscles, which then permits song, which is the loosening and the opening of the joints. Now, fang is definitely downwards, right? But song is three-dimensional because it's expansive, right? Now, part of that expansion balances with up the down of the fang. I think that's just, and it creates the conditions for whole body breathing and efficiency of movement, which will make the Tai Chi run more fluidly and naturally because it's a natural pattern of movements. The whole point of Tai Chi is discovering the natural, finding out what your body wants to do and how your body wants to do it, right? And the original state of a human being is a newborn baby, which, amongst many other characteristics, it has this whole body pulse, right? And along the way we lose it. We lose that whole body pulse. We get tense, we take up silly postures, we wear stupid shoes and sit on crappy furniture, and we generally get messed up. So in many ways, before you can even think about developing an art of Tai Chi, you need to return the body to its original state, or as near as to its original state as makes sense, right? And so the whole body breath is as good a place to start as anywhere, because that's where we all started as newborns. In our study of Tai Chi, people often talk a lot about the mind-body relationship and how Tai Chi heals or assists in developing a healthy mind-body relationship, right? Reunification. But it's Tai Chi's all the way up and all the way down. Right? At every level, there will always be a Tai Chi, a yin-yang pair. And part of advanced practice is to integrate all of these Tai Chis at all these different levels harmoniously together. Right? And one that comes up with a monotonous degree of regularity is internal, external. Right? Increasingly, as far as I'm aware, in China today, the Chinese martial arts community, the Chinese Qigong community, the Chinese exercise community is beginning to feel that these terms are kind of burnt out. They've lost their usefulness. Right? And I'm inclined sometimes to agree. And so I would say it's more about what and how, right? So what am I doing? What posture am I taking? How are my arms moving? How are my leg moving? Is external. What am I doing? Whereas how am I doing it is internal, right? Am I doing it efficiently? Am I doing it, gracefully? Am I doing it functionally well? Am I using too much energy? Am I using too little energy? All that sort of stuff. And that's internal. Now, the core practice for practically everybody is something that's called the form, or Lu in Chinese. And it's a linked series of postures to produce a continuous flowing round of movement. At the simplest possible level, you can see it as a whole body workout, as a calisthenic exercise, because of shifting of the weight and changing of the postures and lifting of the arms and legs and all that physical stuff, right? That would be the what. What do I do now? Put this hand out and punch him or whatever. Right? And then in Tai Chi, the how is very much emphasized right from the word go. It's not just good enough to produce something that kind of vaguely looks like the shape. You've got to try and replicate the manner in which that shape was created. How does it work? How does it feel? Right? And that's again external, internal, and inner and outer. And again, it's all of them are more little Tai Chis, right? Inner would be yin, outer would be yang, right? Internal would be yin, and external would be yang. But none of them, you can't get pure yin. It doesn't exist. There'll always be a bit of yang in there somewhere, which is why the fishes have eyes, the dot of the other colour. Because I suppose to borrow an analogy from nuclear physics, the half-life of pure yang or pure yin is so short, you never get it. It just doesn't exist. Right? So there's always, everything is riddled with Tai Chis, and even at the most individual level, the yang fish is a Tai Chi fish because it's got a yin eye, and vice versa. The yin fish, the dark fish, is a Tai Chi fish because it's got a white eye. And as you expand your appreciation, your perception, your experience, a game that you can satisfyingly play and helps pull things together and will definitely improve your Tai Chi, is keep looking for Tai Chi examples, yin-yang examples, pairs, whether it's inner and outer or internal or external. And even when something like internal and external is beginning to get a bit hackneyed, as long as you keep touching base with the original underlying yin-yang, which is the balance and harmony, which is Tai Chi. And it's Tai Chi's all the way up and all the way down. It's not wrong to say that everything is in the form, because the whole thing is riddled with these Tai Chis and yin-yangs, so the whole art is there in the form. However, there is more to training in Tai Chi Chuan than simply studying and learning and practicing the form. And some people might regard this as a bit controversial, but I would say that perhaps overall the form is only about 30% of a fully rounded curriculum. Right? And we argue the toss about percentages, I suppose, but I think sometimes people get a bit form obsessed and they get a bit solipsistic with the form, and it goes off into weird places, and incorporating a much broader span of the entirety of the training syllabus of traditional. I think it helps to keep you better grounded, and helps to develop you as a person and as a Tai Chi Chuan practitioner. For example, we know that Cheng Fu simplified the form. Most notably, in my opinion, he simplified the footwork. It's great footwork, it's really good footwork, it gives you a good, basic, simple foundation. But it's not very dynamic and it's not very lively as footwork. And I think to round out your appreciation of how to do footwork in Tai Chi, or the principle of yin-yang applied to footwork, or the principle of full and empty applied to footwork, I think it's fairly important to do the jian, the sword, and the knife, because he didn't change the footwork for those. He left the footwork, so it gives you an expansion and an extra added dimension. And if we want to go back to the Tai Chi theme again, the footwork in the empty-handed form is quite yin footwork. It's sturdy, it's robust, it nurtures, it supports, and so on and so forth. Whereas the footwork in the sword and the knife is more agile, more active, more expansive, more dynamic. Right? And so, if you want to have, if it's Tai Chi's all the way up and Tai Chi's all the way down, then your legs need to experience the yin style of stances and foot movement and your yang style of stances and foot movement. And that will have knock-on consequences for your whole body and your whole experience of Tai Chi. So having introduced the idea that, that maybe not 100% of everything is available in the form, weapons training, why would we still do weapons training? Basically because it's a blast, it's a lot of fun. But probably more importantly, in terms of developing your body awareness and your connection filling your body with chi and stuff. When you use a weapon, you can extend your chi along the weapon. So that, for example, if I've got a sword or a knife in my hand, I suddenly have 2 elbows because I've got an extra forearm. Right? And the wrist behaves more like an elbow than it does like a wrist when you've got the extension of the sword. The nature of the sword, I mean, the simplest distinction between swords is that they're sharp on both sides and they're only sharp on one side, and that's again yin yang. Right? The double-sided one would be the yang one because it's double-sided, it's sharp on both sides, and it's generally speaking a little bit lighter. It's more agile, it's more dynamic, and the dao, the single-bladed knife, it would be yin because it's more placid, and it's only sharp on one edge, blah blah blah, so that it's worth using the tools of more dynamic footwork and the tools of something in your hand to help you, well, ultimately project the chi out through the weapon and things, but to draw yourself much more expansively into the felt experience, the living moment of the body, that really send the chi to the skin and down the weapon as well. And that just, and there are a lot of 2-person practices and things that are entertaining and amusing to do with your friends, and it's a lot of fun. But it's recapturing this pulsing, expanding, interacting body, which you can go and look at a baby, right? You see how they do it. Right? You can concentrate on relaxing in these 2 very specific senses: a yin relax and a yang relax, and a Tai Chi of relaxing. So it's Fang, which would be the yin relax, and Song, which would be the yang relax. Right? And that's another Tai Chi. So it's always, it's a trite answer in many ways. But what is Tai Chi Chuan? It's just yin and yang. That's all it is. The most important thing is the method of self-study. Right? Nobody, in a sense, can teach you Tai Chi, or Tai Chi Chuan for that matter. You learn it by practicing it regularly in an appropriately focused, mindful way, and you look at the what and the how and the relationship between them, and you expansively integrate your body, mind, and all the rest of it. But only you can do that. It's your body. It's not my body or anybody else's body. So you really have to be paying attention. And what does that feel like? How am I doing? What am I doing? And is that consistent with my current level of understanding? What I'm trying to be doing. Right? And it's only through self-study that you will actually learn and grow. So that you could have a teacher who, in themselves, was relatively limited. And if there's no other show if there's no other show in town, it's probably better to go and practice with a group of people than not to practice at all. Right? But then it's also important to practice at home alone, so you can practice this method of self-study. I mean, because the method of self-study, of course, should be being practiced when you're in a class and when you're listening to a teacher and all the rest of it. But it's this constant dynamic interplay, another one of these yin-yangs, another one of these Tai Chis, between how am I doing what I'm doing, right? Internal how, external what, right? How am I doing what am I doing, whatever that might be, and that helps you, explore where current limitations are, where boundaries are, and these are territories where the cutting edge of learning is. That's where the self-study is. What is that? I'm experiencing whatever I'm experiencing, and it doesn't seem quite right. And So can I work out how to work it out or work around it? And generally speaking, the answer is another simple yin yang, which is Fang Sung. Whatever else you're doing, have you forgotten to do Fang Sung? Because if you do Fang Sung and everything is, like sprung, then your capacity to experience internally, how am I doing, what am I doing, is going to be at its peak, right? And hopefully will develop and expand. And physically, the what am I doing will be efficient, relaxed in the sense of not burning lots of energy, comfortable, and all of that sort of thing. So it is just yin and yang again. The more I practice Tai Chi, the more I align all these Tai Chis all the way up and all the way down, and physical, mental ones, and all the rest of it. And the more I sort of distill the ultimate message of Tai Chi, right, to me, and I believe that's what it is, but people have their own opinions, obviously. It's this returning to nature, restoring spring, right? Healthy, balanced, harmonious being, living, right? And so, it's impossible for me to live at the beginning of the 21st century without noticing that perhaps the environment that we've created for ourselves is not exactly helping with the restoring spring or returning to nature. Because if I'm yin yangs all the way up and all the way down, and Tai Chi is yin yangs all the way up and all the way down, then everything is yin yangs all the way up and all the way down, right? And we are definitely living in an extremely, possibly overbalanced, wildly out of balance yang society, running around, rushing around, zapping about, active, 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 no time to sit and think, no slow down, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, right? It's no wonder that people suffer stress diseases and burn out and freak out and all the rest of it, because the conditions of our self-domestication are so appalling. What is a skyscraper but a factory farm for human beings? Cramming people in together. We're not really built that way. At least I certainly don't feel that I'm built that way. And my study of Tai Chi and the whole integration of the body, mind, and body mechanics, even staying quite materialistic. It's obvious that things are just getting wildly out of hand. So it's not surprising that Tai Chi, a little bit of Tai Chi, often is experienced by people as a major radical shift in their experience and their felt sense of being. And it probably is just because, if you like, the sicker you are, the tiniest dose of medicine will make you feel wildly better. And certainly one characterization of Tai Chi and principle-driven, yin-yang oriented exercise, is that it's medical. It's there to heal you. And in the broadest possible senses, right? We can apply the principles, the yin-yang principles, to anything that crosses our mind. Once we have developed a real gut feeling sensation of what yin is and what yang is, and Tai Chi Chuan is a very good way of doing that, because it is physically embodied. Right? But say dietary advice, okay, so we've got to balance up all the little Tai Chis that we can think of in diet, right? And balances of yin and yang and stuff like that. But also, we want to be relaxed Fang Sung about it. We don't need to be unduly complicated. Some of yes, you want a good yin yang balance in your meal or in your diet or over a period of time. But some of the modern processed foods I mean, I think this is a sort of a lump of information that got stuck on the way in, so I don't fully do my. But I think there is a brand of microwavable porridge which has something like 69 or 70 ingredients listed. Now, even if you got those all perfectly yin-yang balanced, that seems a bit excessive. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, porridge is water and oats. All right, we can get a bit exotic and have a dash of salt, and a bit of butter perhaps, But how the hell do you get up to 69 or 70 ingredients for porridge? The whole idea of balance and harmony, right? And all the way that works out, and the yin-yangs everywhere. The whole body breathing, everything being connected, and relaxing in both a yin sense and a yang sense, so that you're not floppy, you're not falling asleep, you're not crashing out, you're not disengaging. In fact, you're very engaged. I mean, that's one of the good things about it being a martial art, is that it's very, I mean, yes, it's in here, but it's also about in here, out there, and it's very engaging. And there was a point when I was a bit of an evangelical Tai Chi junkie, and it's like, everybody in the world should be doing Tai Chi, it's wonderful. And it's kind of, no, that's not reasonable or responsible. Whilst it probably would be good for everybody in the world to be doing Tai Chi, because at an individual level, that will improve their health, might acquire some self-defense skills. If more and more people did it, then the whole mindset of being accepting of change, but trying to flow harmoniously and not be violent, would have an increasing knock-on effect, and we could do with a lot of that now, because the world is going to hell in a handbasket, at many, many levels, from ecological to economic, and I think that unless a significant number of individual human beings engage with a path of rectification, or returning to nature, or restoring spring, things are going to crash and burn in a big way. I think that we desperately need to get back to the roots.